to my attention at the end. So welcome. We have people from New Brunswick, Sussex Corner, St. Albert, Devon, Alberta, St. John, Toronto, Quispamsis. So we've got people from across Canada so far joining us. So welcome. If you're just joining us, type in the chat where you're from, but let's go ahead and get started. My name is Roxanne Harris, and I am a bioregulatory medicine practitioner. I have also degrees in holistic nutrition and blood microscopy, as well as homeopathy. I'm currently getting my doctorate and PhD in natural medicine, so I'll add that to my little repertoire. But all that to say, I have a lot of training in health and wellness, but one of my passions is educating on glutathione and why every single person needs it. And that's not an understatement. We're going to see that as we go through. Tonight, we have three main goals. Number one, to talk about what is glutathione, why do we need it, why is it so important, what is Neumiwebinarapril72022? What are they doing that makes it a different product, that makes it way more absorbable into the body than what we used to have available on the market, even professionally. And then how you can get your hot little hands on this amazing product to start feeling better, living better, and performing better. So let us go. St. Paul, Alberta. Well, we've got a lot of fantastic Alberta people. Quick disclaimer, just so that everyone knows, these statements have not been approved by the FDA or Health Canada. They're not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent disease. We always recommend that you discuss any new supplementation with your health care provider. So this would be the person that you're partnering with, that you're locking arms with, that you have a goal or a dream for your health, your wellness, and that they're going to help you get there, right? So we're not talking about your Band-Aid provider, but someone who's going to help you reach the wellness goals that you desire. So what is glutathione? It is a compound that is actually naturally occurring. Your body is supposed to make it. It's a compound involved in a coenzyme oxidation reduction reactions. We're going to explain that a little bit because it's really cool, and you're going to understand why people age and get wrinkles and their skin dries up. It's a tripeptide derived from glutamic acid, cysteine, and glycine as well. So what is glutathione anyways? It is an antioxidant that's involved in over 400 reactions in the body. So you may have heard on social media or on the news or read in magazines for many, many years to eat your antioxidants, right? To eat all the colors of the rainbow, to eat all of the berries because they help your body to heal. Well, glutathione is the master antioxidant. It is the hotel key. It opens every door, every cell in your body, and helps your cells to flush and detoxify, heal, repair, recover, restore, and regenerate themselves. Glutathione is actually required by every single cell in your entire body, and without it, they actually die. So it's a crucial element that we have in order to live a full, vibrant, vital life that's full of vitality. Glutathione prevents damage that's caused by reactive oxygen species like free radicals, lipid peroxides, heavy metals, basically the things that cause our bodies to rot and rust on the inside, that cause inflammation and that cause us to age. And these are all kinds of things that are from internal metabolism, just digesting your food, going for a walk, eating causes some of these free radicals. And we also get them from the outside, breathing in various maybe chemicals or irritants in the air, like maybe you used to breathe in the gas fumes in the winter at the tailpipe of the car. We can also get them from all kinds of chemicals that we slather onto our bodies for various reasons and medications, etc. Glutathione is involved in tissue healing and repair. It actually helps your body to form proteins, which help your body to make muscles and tissues and ligaments, as well as it helps to form various chemicals, such as hormones that are needed for your body to function, and as well to support your body's immune system. So some of the benefits of glutathione, and this is kind of just a quick little cheat sheet of some of the many things that glutathione is responsible for, but it helps to increase our energy. And this is because glutathione goes right inside the cells themselves. cells, and it activates the mitochondria, which are your powerhouses in the cells. The mitochondria help your body to make energy. It's called cellular energy or ATP, but it's this energy that makes you feel alive, that makes you feel like when you wake up in the morning that you have energy, you can get through your day, you're not crashing, you're not falling asleep, and that you have enough energy to go all the way until bedtime. Glutathione slows down the aging process. So when we don't have enough glutathione in our bodies, that's where we start to see it visually on the skin. We get the fine lines, we get the wrinkles, we get the saggy skin, we get the skin that has no elasticity or tone. We start getting the double chins. Okay, we start to get the disintegration of the skin. Maybe you've seen elderly people where their skin is like paper thin. It's a lack of glutathione at the very basic level. Glutathione reduces muscle and joint discomfort. And so this is really important if you want to feel mobile. It strengthens your immune system. Glutathione actually very dramatically assists the white blood cells, your immune system in your body, to respond properly. Detoxifies the liver as a whole organ, but it also detoxifies every single cell in your entire body, right? So most of the detoxes, if you've ever done some kind of detox from a health food store, it's not detoxifying at the cellular level, it's kind of at the global level, maybe opening the bowels more or helping you to urinate more or sweat more. Glutathione also improves our mental focus and clarity. And I don't know about you, but sometimes, you might feel like your brain's on slow motion, or that you can't remember things well, or you're not sharp or quick, right? So glutathione really helps to hone in the mental capabilities of your brain. It also improves the quality of your sleep. So even if you're sleeping maybe shorter hours, the quality is there. You're able to get into the REM sleep and stay there for longer so that your body is actually able to get into that restorative sleep. Glutathione reduces the effects of stress on the body. So whether that's stress from inflammation or pain, whether it's stress because your blood sugars are out of whack, or whether it's mental emotional stress, glutathione is very, very balancing to our body. It improves our skins. We talked a little bit about this during the aging process, but it really improves the tone, the tightening of the skin, the actual skin quality itself. So how bright is your skin? Or, when we look at the Asian culture, for example, their skin is beautiful, but that's also because they know about glutathione and they use it every single day on their skin. And then as well, it has some athletic performance and recovery benefits, where if you are an athlete, or maybe you just like to, run or bike ride, or you like to, play hockey or basketball. So it improves your performance. You're able to last longer without exhaustion, but you're also able to recover faster. You need to, play a game of, basketball and then end up on the couch for the rest of the weekend because you're working hard at recovering from the body. Now, what's really interesting is glutathione is not new by any stretch of the imagination. Glutathione is well known, it's well studied in medical science. PubMed is the search engine for any medical professional or for any scientist. So if you want to know anything about a pharmaceutical drug or a natural supplement, a vitamin, a mineral, PubMed is the place to go to get all of the peer-reviewed, tested, tried, published research on basically all the stuff that we're putting in our bodies or on our bodies. And you can see here that there are over 163,000 studies on glutathione. It is well studied, well researched. In fact, you can go to pubmed.gov and you can type in anything you're interested in: thyroid and glutathione, heart and glutathione, brain and glutathione, heavy metals and glutathione, anything that you may be thinking, man, I wonder if glutathione would help me in this regards. Type it into the search engine on PubMed and you'll see all of the articles that come up to talk about it. We can see that even though people know about vitamin C and D and E, a lot of people use them, they talk about them a lot, there's more studies on glutathione than almost all of those combined. So glutathione is very necessary in our lives. And we have a number of experts that talk about glutathione as well. Dr. Oz, right, the superhero of antioxidants, he's done a number of episodes devoted to glutathione. We have Dr. Mark Hyman, the most important molecule you need to stay healthy and prevent disease. Dr. Don Colbert, in my opinion, glutathione is the Michael Jordan of antioxidants and detoxifiers in the body. And then we have Dr. Jimmy Gutman, your body's most powerful healing agent. And I would have to agree with all of them. Without glutathione, you actually could not survive. So glutathione makes you feel and look younger. That's really important because we want to feel our best. We want to be full of vitality. I mean, seriously, it's not good to live a long life if you don't feel good. If the last 10 or 20 years of your life, you're sitting in a wheelchair, staring out a window, not able to move or communicate with your family or your loved ones, it's not a really fulfilled life. But if you can live your life full of vitality, right, with energy, with cognitive brain function, now you're going to have, health span. You're going to live a long life full of health and vitality. So glutathione is an endogenous peptide, which means that the body makes it itself because it's critical. It's crucial. If you don't have it, you can't survive. Glutathione is anti-aging. It protects and detoxifies at the cellular level, preventing a buildup of toxins that can contribute to oxidative stress and damage cells, tissues, and organs. So I want to just press the pause button here because I really want to make sure you understand where these toxins are coming from. Because in my clinic and when I'm doing blood microscopy, people are often shocked at the level of toxins in their body. So I mentioned that we have these endogenous toxins that come from inside our body. The fact that you woke up today, first of all, congratulations, hallelujah, you are alive, right? But the fact that you woke up, your body is producing waste products. You moving, you breathing, you eating, anything that you do creates metabolic waste that your body has to clean up from. You need antioxidants to clean up from it. And glutathione is the key. Glutathione detoxifies all of the metabolic waste products, not just here or there or some of these and some of those. Then we also have exogenous oxidative stress. This comes from so many things. So for example, your skin is your largest organ in your body. Whatever you put on your skin, you eat. So when you're putting on, whatever cream or lotion that you're slathering yourself with, and on the direction label, it says, caution, do not take internally, call poison control, and you slather that all over your body, you are eating it. You have taken it internally, okay? And it's creating a toxic buildup. We have a lot of maybe medications that we take for various things. They're very toxic to the body. The body has to process them and flush them out. In your shower in the morning, if you live somewhere where there is chemically treated water, so you're getting city water that's been treated, you are actually exposed to over 300 toxic chemicals in that water with your pores wide open, just absorbing all of the garbage. And so be very careful, your skin care, your body care, your hair care. Maybe you're getting your hair dyed full of toxins and heavy metals, right? And then we can also get it through our food supply. A lot of our food supply is contaminated. For example, if you're buying any rice products from a developed country like the US, the rice in the US is well known to have very high levels of arsenic. Okay, and so that can cause other symptomology and other issues there. So we need the glutathione to help our body on a daily basis to get rid of it. Glutathione plays a role in so many chemical reactions in our body that are crucial for us to function. But it's also safe for everyone, no matter what age. A newborn baby is producing glutathione because they are breathing, right? They are digesting, they are creating those metabolic waste products. So I want to tease you a little bit with a couple of photos of before and after about some of the things that we are seeing in glutathione usage. Now, these photos are from using the Neumi product, but I just want to give you that inside look as to what glutathione does. So on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see a before and after. And we can see on the far left from her face that the skin is dull, the complexion is uneven. We have bags under the eyes. If you look at the eyes, right, the whites of the eyes are dark. The color of the eyes are kind of cloudy. We've got a lot of puffiness in the face. We've got huge demarcations, those laugh lines, right, around the mouth, and the sagging skin, right? We've got the wrinkles, but also the sagging skin that's hanging down from the chin, and also the neck, right? So we've got the sagging skin down the neck as well. After using the spray, the Neumi spray, the glutathione spray, as well as the swish, 3 weeks later, we have a woman that looks like she's lost 10 or 15 years off of her life. Right. She's also looks like she's lost maybe, 10 or 15 pounds. Okay, so none of these pictures, none of these people lost any weight, but what happened with the glutathione is it restored them, healed, repaired, recovered, regenerated their skin. So we have a more balanced complexion. We have a brightness to the skin. We have less in the way of the bags under the eyes. Look at the whites of the eyes. They're way more clear and bright. Even the eye color almost looks like she's changed eye color because the toxins, if the liver is not detoxifying the body, the eyes get very cloudy. It also looks like she's lost that weight, right? The puffiness in her cheeks has gone. The lines are not as intense, but check out her jaw and her neckline, right? So it looks like she's had a facelift because with the glutathione, it's supporting the elasticity of the skin, it's supporting the collagen production. So you get that nice tone back to the skin. And then on the right-hand side, we have this beautiful woman that we see her before picture where she's got double bags and dark circles under the eyes. And the dark circles show us levels of liver toxicity. So the liver itself, when it's toxic, we get stagnant pooled blood, and we start to see that under the very fine skin under the eyes. We've got a lot of the lines across the forehead, the puffiness in the face and around the mouth. And then again, that double kind of chin action going on. 7 weeks later from using the skin product, we've got almost looks like a different person, right? She didn't lose any weight, but it looks like it because we see the definition in her cheekbones. We see the definition in her jawline. We see a great reduction in the lines around her mouth. And look at her eyes. We've got a lot of clearing of the liver toxicity. So really beautiful. Here we have this beautiful man. And so on the left-hand side, his before picture, we can see the eyes, very dark, very cloudy. The whites are cloudy, the eye color is cloudy. And look at how large his pores are on his face. So after using the skin product a couple of times a day, spraying his face, look at how beautiful his eyes are. So it looks like his eyes have lightened. It looks like the whites have lightened, and a lot of the pores have actually shrunk in their size. Now, glutathione, not only for beautiful skin, we need it for beautiful hair. So it supports the hair growth cycle, but glutathione also tells your vitamins and nutrients where to go. And so we know that we need certain minerals in order to support hair growth. And so the glutathione ensures that the right minerals are getting to where they need to be. So this is a very good friend of mine, 56 years old, or young, I should say. And we can see that she is losing her hair, almost bald on the top of her hair. We can see the entire scalp. We can see how fine the hair is. So using the skin product, the topical spray, she was spraying the top of her head 2 or 3 times a day. So we've got a nice thick head of hair, which has actually continued to thicken up. But we can also see that even though my friend has had white hair for, oh my goodness, probably at least 10 or 12 years, right? Her hair started growing in her natural hair color because now her hair is actually getting the zinc and the selenium that it requires. So I want to show you kind of the progression of her hair growth. So in September, 2021, right? We see the balding and the thinning of the hair. In November, we see, wow, she's actually got hair. We can't really see her scalp. It's coming in black. And then in January 22, it's thick hair. So we've got wonderful hair growth after years and years and years of suffering from balding. So when she saw her hairdresser in January, the hairdresser that you can see in the mirror there taking the picture, freaking out. What did you do? Oh my gosh, this is crazy, right? So we can see how thick her hair is and how it's come in black. She didn't have one single strand of black hair on her head as long as I've known her. So this is really fantastic. And here it is, a close-up from the side. Isn't that really cool? And we often have hairdressers or estheticians on the call with us. So if that's you and you've ever seen that in your life, then I want you to put that in the chat, because we've had a lot of hairdressers and estheticians on these calls and they've never seen that with any product that quickly. Here we have Brian. And Brian, we can see on the left-hand side, traditional male pattern balding. So we've got that, balding pattern in the back of the head. We can also see that he's going gray. We can see that throughout the hair. That was January 18th. And February 6th, hello, who even is this guy? So full head of hair, and look at how much gray has been eliminated. His hair is coming in his original hair color. Isn't that cool? So, ladies or men, you might be able to, have this beautiful full head of hair again without going through, plugs or any kind of other weird kind of things that we have on the market today. So we mentioned briefly that glutathione is very good for energy. Glutathione helps your bodies, the cells, the mitochondria, to produce the energy that they need to function properly. Glutathione has actually been used by professional athletes for years and years and years. Because it's an endogenous molecule, right, and it's natural to the body, they can get that enhanced performance. They don't test on drug tests because it's not a drug. It's a naturally occurring a molecule in our bodies. It decreases the recovery time post-workouts, whether you're lifting weights, going for a jog, going for a hike, you won't feel that exhaustion afterwards. And I have a good friend who's a chiropractor who wanted to test this out, went to the gym, and literally after the first dose was shocked at the recovery time in between sets and how much more intense the workout was, comparatively speaking. It was like blown away. We also have the decreased muscle pain and fatigue, where it doesn't matter whether, it's muscle pain or fatigue because you've been out, raking your lawn or shoveling snow, or whether it's because of a chronic issue, that the glutathione, because it can detoxify those tissues, it reduces the muscle fatigue and the pain. We get rid of the lactic acid and other buildup. So we get that control on the mitochondria DNA, those energy stores. It feeds your energy house. So if you've been feeling a bit low energy or a bit down or lethargical or really lack of motivation, you don't want to do anything, then glutathione could be very supportive for you. Oops, it's not. There we go. So a couple of athletes kind of weighing into our picture here. So we have Tristan Lovell, a mountain bike racer from Australia, been racing since he was 10 years old. He finds it much easier to take the Neumiwebinarapril glutathione as an athlete. He gets instant results. It's half the price of what he was using, feels much stronger, and says that his recovery time is much faster. So we have a lot of athletes that just take little tiny bottles with them and take a couple of swishes on their route or partway through their activity or their sport to make sure that their stamina increases. One of the things to know about athletes and injury is that you don't see injuries, in the first half, right? We see injuries when the athletes start getting fatigued. That's when we start to see the accidents and the injuries happening. And so what we're seeing as we're testing out the product on athletes around the world is that the reduction in injuries is substantial because they're not hitting that fatigue, that exhaustion level. Then we have Natalie Jenkinson, an Olympian and Australian boxing champion. And she said the very first thing that she noticed on day one when she took the swish, so the oral glutathione, was how well she slept. So she thought, well, if this is all that it does and I sleep better, maybe it's worth it. By day 13, I was all clear and was training better than she had in years. Swish gave her back the endurance and recovery like she had in her elite fighting years. So that's pretty cool that the first thing she noticed was that she was sleeping much better. So our cells, we know in our body that we need oxygen. In 2 to 3 minutes without oxygen, we're going to die. Oxygen is a requirement for our life. We also need water within 2 to 3 days, depending on your level of hydration. If you don't have water, you're going to die. Depending on your level of nutrient intake, are you eating nutrient-rich foods, all of the vegetables and the fruits and the berries? Are you having this beautiful, colorful diet and digesting and absorbing well? Depending on what your nutritional status is, you can go without food for anywhere from 7 to 21 days. Glutathione is required by every living thing on this earth that breathes oxygen. Without glutathione, you would die. The fact that you breathe oxygen creates metabolic waste and causes the rusting and the rotting on the inside of the body and the breaking down of your cells and tissues. When there are lower levels of glutathione, when there's no glutathione, the cell dies. And when there's lower levels of glutathione, the cells start to suffer and they have difficulty performing their function. So we start to see dysfunction in our body. We've got various symptoms in our body due to low levels of glutathione. So let's talk about this just a little bit. Glutathione, you might see in the presentation, GSH, that's the short term for glutathione, medically speaking. So again, it's involved in all of these cellular processes, including cell differentiation, proliferation, and apoptosis. I do want to explain this to you because it may help you understand a lot of what you're seeing and hearing in the world. So every cell in your body needs a job. It can't just be a random cell floating around doing nothing. It has to be a liver cell or a kidney cell. It has to be a bladder cell or an eyeball, right? It has to have a job. When our cells are damaged, the DNA or the RNA is damaged and they proliferate or they replicate, they proliferate wrong. They either are so damaged that they don't have a job at all, right? Or they're partially damaged so that when they are that liver cell or that eyeball cell, they don't really do a good job. They don't do what they're supposed to do. This proliferation is really important because when you have cells that are just replicating without a job, it becomes destructive to the body. It creates very serious disease process in your body. When your cells don't have jobs and they're mass replicating, they're taking over and they're creating something that is not you. When a cell does that, it's supposed to be programmed to die. It's called apoptosis. So if the cell is dysfunctional, the DNA or the RNA is damaged, or it doesn't replicate properly, or it doesn't have a job, it's supposed to self-destruct. What we see happening in chronic autoimmune diseases or chronic debilitating diseases or other cancer states is that the cells are not self-destructing and they're replicating erroneously. We need the glutathione to help our bodies, our cells to properly replicate and make sure that they have a job. And then I mentioned very briefly that the glutathione directs the pathway for every supplement you take. So sometimes people are taking a lot of maybe good supplements, vitamins, minerals, nutrients, fish oils, and they still don't feel good from it. It might be because it's a poor quality, but the chances are that you don't have enough glutathione in your stores to tell those supplements, to tell those nutrients where to go in your body to be useful. The mitochondria in your cells make cellular energy. The byproduct are those free radicals, right? So these free radicals, these metabolic waste products, cause you to rust and rot on the inside. It causes an inflammation and a breaking down of your muscles, your tissues, your joints, your organs. It causes you to age. So on the outside, we call that aging, but on the inside, we give it all kinds of phenomenal disease names as our body rusts and rots on the inside. obviously you need energy. You can't survive without energy. You don't feel good without energy. So the glutathione is required, first of all, to help the mitochondria make the energy, but then the glutathione is required to have the body heal, repair, recover, and detoxify from giving you all that energy. The mitochondria are the first things to get damaged when we don't have enough glutathione, which is why many people feel fatigued, tired, brain fog, sluggish, right? And when you have a chronic long-standing disease, you really start to feel that sluggishness, that fatigue, that brain fog, because of you don't have enough glutathione to heal. That chronic disease makes even more free radicals. It causes your body to rust and rot faster on the inside. So here's a fun little picture of my friend who's 72 years old. And on his left hand, we can see the pretty typical elderly man hand. We've got a lot of wrinkles. We've got the sagging skin. We've got the veins protruding through. The only thing I can say is, man, he's got some good moisturizer going on there, because his skin is not dry or necessarily thin like many other people's of his age. So he decided he was only going to spray his right hand with the skin spray to see if it really actually did anything. So I think by the comparison side by side, we can all see that he better just start spraying his left hand to make them more even, right? But we can see that it's less wrinkled. The skin is not as saggy. There's more tone. The blood vessels are, back down underneath the skin, maybe where they should be. So really fantastic results. And I love this picture. So she's 84 years young. So if we look at the left-hand side, only using the Neumi skin product. So on the left-hand side, she looks her age. She looks tired. She looks worn. We've got massive bags under the eyes because of the toxicity, the dark circles for the liver toxicity. The eyes are very cloudy. We've got a lot of fine lines. We've got a lot of wrinkles. The skin is swollen. It's saggy. It's very dull in her complexion. 3 weeks using the skin spray only, 2 or 3 times a day. Hello, she looks literally 20 years younger. Look at how bright she looks, right? She looks fresh, like she just popped up like a little daisy out of bed that morning. So we've got the reduction in the bagginess under the eyes. So the liver toxicity, even using the skin spray only, has reduced. We've got a reduction in the fine lines and the laugh lines around the face. And there's more tone in her skin. Just, it's such a beautiful picture. Like for me, honestly, if I saw this and I was an elderly person, or, someone maybe who's younger that's having a lot of issues with their skin, I'd be all over this, because it's a phenomenal before and after. So glutathione is also needed by your liver to carry out the detoxification process. Your liver is like the oil filter in your car. So every once in a while you go and get an oil change because the oil starts getting thick and sluggish. And the technician sometimes says, oh, excuse me, you need to change the oil filter. So sometimes as a woman, your husband has already warned you and be like, don't you get any upsells? You don't need an oil filter. I can do that myself, right? Like they charge too much. And so you're like, oh, no, I'm sorry. I don't need that. My husband said he can do that because it's only like $12 if he does it. And then you drive off, and a week later or a month later, right, your motor seizes and stops, because you actually did need to change the oil filter. So that thick oil, when you go for the oil change, is like your blood. Your blood gets really thick and sludgy when it's full of toxin, those oxidative stress. The liver is filtering and cleaning that out. But sometimes our liver is so full of garbage, it can't filter out the blood. So the blood just gets more and more thick and sluggish, and we start to experience even more health issues. And then we start to experience issues coming out on our skin because the body can't flush and detoxify. And so what's happening is that all of the garbage starts to come out on the skin. And then we get weird stuff going on, like itchy, scaly, weepy, bumpy, pussy, scratchy all over our skin. And then our skin starts to look dull and we get wrinkles. And it's because our oil filter needs to be flushed. And so glutathione is what does that. Now, also interestingly enough, your liver makes the bile. Bile is what breaks down the fats that you eat so that you can actually make hormones, that your brain can function and your eyes can function. So we need the glutathione to make the bile as well. So if you're having issues with fat digestion, maybe you're thinking, man, I don't eat fat anymore because it causes me so many problems, right? You're having the problems because we need to flush out your liver, clean it out, but we also need to give you the glutathiones that you can make the bile to break down the fats. You need the fats, otherwise you cannot produce any hormones. Also, if you're not breaking down fats, you're going to have high cholesterol levels, because your body will go into panic mode and start producing LDL, the so-called bad cholesterol, because you need cholesterol in order to function and survive. You know, glutathione is so important to your liver that your liver itself would completely die within 48 hours of not having any glutathione. So that's really important, because if your liver dies, so do you, right? So we need our liver. And yeah, Jeannie, thank you for saying that. It's a really great description. I think it's easy for people to compare themselves to a Lamborghini or a Porsche. So why don't we, you know, clean our bodies out a little bit, right? Like, you know, what kind of car are you? If you are a Porsche, would you ever go and put poor quality fuel in your car? No, you want all of the best fuel. And so the best fuel really is the glutathione to make sure that you're functioning as a fine-tuned machine. So glutathione is essential for your immune system, especially what we call cell-mediated immunity. And so you may have heard of a lot of this cell-mediated immunity over the past 2 years, and your B cells and your T cells, right? So glutathione actually helps your white blood cells function how they should. It supports your B cells, which are what makes your antibodies, and your T cells, which is what is the assassins in your body. So they kill any germs and little creatures that come in that don't belong. And so we really want to make sure that our Bs and our Ts are working really well. Interestingly enough, any type of infection, cough, cold, flu, you cut your finger, it's all pussy and gross, right? Any type of exercise and any type of toxin, whether it's the medication, it's coming from your food, it's coming from your shower, your body care, skin care, they all deplete your glutathione stores. They cause and trigger this mitochondrial dysfunction that causes the fatigue, chronic health issues, and a failure of your immune system. Glutathione reduces your inflammation. I talked about the inflammation and the aging. So inflammation is the silent killer. Every medical person knows this, because we can't see inside our bodies. And by the time we really start feeling that inflammation, it's already so out of control that it's causing a major problem in our body. And so inflammation is actually what contributes to or causes aging. The new term is actually called inflammaging, inflammation and aging all together. So not just the aging externally with the wrinkles and the saggy skin, but the aging and inflammation internally, which causes eventually long-standing chronic health issues and diseases. So we really want to reduce the inflammation as much as possible. And so I love it. Tracy is sharing with us that she changed her oil and filter today in the car. So she's glad to have the Neumi, the oil and the filter for her own body. So here's what I was talking about with the garbage kind of coming out on the skin. When the body can't detoxify and flush, we start to get a creeping out of all of the toxic yuck and sludge and fungus and whatever else on the skin. So we can see the before pictures here. So the little bit of the lighter color, the way that the camera took it. But, you know, we see the itchy inflammation, irritation of the skin after 2 weeks of using the spray, very much more calm on the skin side of things, right? So really attacking all layers of the skin to bring about healing from the inside out. And then we have on the far right, after 3 weeks, not just the healing and the shrinking, it's no longer inflamed, but it's really, you know, crusting over. This is fantastic. People that have longstanding skin issues are always shocked and amazed at these photos, because there's really nothing that they've taken that can compare. Glutathione is essential to many other processes, including cellular homeostasis. Your body loves to be in balance. It wants to be in balance. It helps to transport oxygen. So you have energy, you feel good, you're quick in your mind, in your memory, in your focus. It protects your DNA. Remember, we want our cells to properly replicate. We don't want dysfunctional cells or cells that don't have a job. And then it helps with amino acid transportation, which means that you can have strong, healthy muscles and ligaments and tissues. It also protects your B12 inside your cells. So if you've been told before that your B12 is lower, that you need B12 shots or B12 supplementation, adding the glutathione to make sure that your body is protecting the B12 and making use of it is really important. And then glutathione removes heavy metals. We get heavy metals from so many places. A lot of our supplements are contaminated with heavy metals because of the way that they're processed. Most of our medications are contaminated. Our vaccinations are contaminated with heavy metals because they're adjuvants, they're irritants. So they cause the immune system to freak out a little bit. So that's why they're used there. But your lead, right? If you grew up in the 70s and 80s, I mean, there was lead paint everywhere, lead gasoline. We just had lead everywhere, but we get heavy metals even from our crops. Our crops are sprayed and they're often full of heavy metals. Heavy metals don't leave your body. Right? If you've ever had silver fillings, that's full of mercury. It doesn't leave your body. And every time you bite on anything, you're releasing mercury into the body. Your body stores heavy metals in the central nervous system, fat tissue, so the brain and the spinal column. So we end up with neurological issues or brain issues, fine motor issues. And so the glutathione is going to help remove those heavy metals so that you can function better. And so welcome, Kelly from Baines Corner, New Brunswick. Nice to have you on our call. And we have glutathione, I mentioned. It is the master detoxifier. It's not just a good detoxifier. It's not just a missing link. It is the link. It is absolutely foundational to your life. Without it, you cannot function. You won't survive. And so it's really important that we have optimal levels of glutathione. So here's a fun picture of this beautiful girl just using the skin spray. So a lot of the cystic acne going on in the left-hand side, right? So we've got the inflammation, we've got the swelling, we've got the massive scarring and pock marks. Also just notice again, the darkness of her eyes. And then on the right-hand side, hello, 3.5 weeks just spraying her face. We can see the redness and the irritation is reduced. She doesn't really have any new active pustules. And some of that scarring is actually healing over. Her skin is looking much more smooth. And we've got some clearing of her eyes. So one of the things that I want to discuss or talk about is this glutathione problem. Because I mentioned that you're supposed to make glutathione yourself. Every cell in your body is actually supposed to produce its own glutathione. However, we only produce adequate levels of glutathione until we're about 20 years of age. And then for every decade after 20, our glutathione production decreases by about 10 to 15% per decade. So that by the time we're at the red line, 40, 50, 60 years old, we're producing a fraction of the glutathione that we actually require. So we're aging, we're getting older, and we can see from the blue line that our oxidative stress, the things that are causing us to rust and rot, are actually increasing at those ages as well. We've got more oxidative stress, more rusting, rotting, inflammation, aging. We've got less glutathione. So which means that this is when generally the age 40, 50, 60, where people are being diagnosed with chronic, long-standing, painful, irritating conditions because they've got this great slide going where their body can't keep up with the oxidative stress with a level of glutathione that it's able to produce. So if we think about the age of 30, 40, 50, 60, we add to that problem. We add to that problem exponentially. Here are some of the ways that we add to that problem. Maybe we're smoking. Maybe we have various diseases or issues. Maybe we've had bronchitis or pneumonia a whole swack of times, or maybe we have chronic yeast infections. Right? Maybe we've got bad nutrition. We're hanging out at McDonald's and all the fast food, eating processed, nutrient dead food most of the week. Maybe we're contaminated. Maybe we live in a community where there's, a pulp mill or some type of factory that's leaching out all of these toxins into the air. Around those ages, many people also maybe start taking up the alcohol habit, which depletes glutathione out of your body. We've got generally increased stress because there's usually kids and jobs and bills and broken things, extreme exercise, maybe a lack of sleep. Definitely, I know people burning the candle a lot. Sunlight causing, sunburn and other, just maybe way too much or too long. Radiation, maybe you have a condition where you're getting a lot of x-rays or MRIs or CAT scans. It's a lot of oxidative stress to the body. And then all of our medications. So basically, if you're over the age of 30 and you are participating in any of these factors, your glutathione levels are even less than what they would be naturally at the age of 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, etc. So it's not good enough to just, eat some vegetables that help your body to make glutathione, because for many people, your body just can't make enough. And then if you're in that age category, 40, 50, 60 years old, you're just not making enough, period. If you've got a chronic longstanding disease, you're really not making enough. You have the chronic longstanding disease because you didn't have enough glutathione to begin with, right? You started maybe having more toxicity or more issues that cause a reduction in the glutathione. Yeah. Okay. So a lot of people, say to me kind of at this point in the presentation, well, what about NAC? The person that I'm working with, my healthcare provider says, you don't need glutathione. You just need to have some NAC, or you can eat certain foods and make your own glutathione. So I want to unpack this because I want everyone to understand. NAC stands for N-acetylcysteine. It's the supplemental form of the amino acid called cysteine. You cannot make glutathione without cysteine. So if you want your body to manufacture it, you have to have cysteine. Well, cysteine is actually found in a lot of high protein foods. So make sure you're consuming chicken, turkey, yogurt, eggs, cheese, sunflower seeds, legumes. It has cysteine so your body can make glutathione. Your body can actually make cysteine from other amino acids as well, like methionine and serine. And it's essential only when our dietary intake of those two amino acids is low. So cysteine is semi-essential because your body can actually make it. But it becomes essential if you are avoiding those high protein foods because you can no longer make it because you're not absorbing any cysteine. Now, NAC kind of bypasses all of that and just kind of gives you the cysteine, but it's a precursor to your body manufacturing glutathione. So it's going to use that cysteine, that NAC, to make glutathione. However, let me reiterate, if you are 40, 50, 60 years old, if you have a chronic degenerative disease, if you're on medications, you're exercising, you're toxic, you're drinking alcohol, you're eating a bad diet, you can never make enough glutathione. It doesn't matter how much NAC you take, actually, right? You're already not able to make what you need to heal, repair, recover, restore, and regenerate. So when we look at the NAC, right, we want to look at, NAC used to be something that we looked at in natural medicine and even in conventional medicine to help us make more glutathione, because we thought that that's what would be helpful. We didn't understand really all of the mechanisms. So it's kind of like, remember when the cassette tape or the beta, the different 8 tracks used to be the best way that we could listen to music, or when capsules were the best way to get nutrition like NAC. We now have a new delivery system for our glutathione that makes it 100% absorbable and available to the body, right? And so, Andrea, that's a good point, that many people who are unwell actually can't even digest protein. They're not even eating the proper foods, but some people don't eat enough protein to begin with. And then maybe they're on medications that block their stomach acid. So they're really not breaking down the protein to begin with. So you're not even absorbing any of the cysteine through the protein that you are eating. So let's look at why Neumi. Neumi uses a really amazing nanotechnology that increases bioavailability and absorption. It's called a Hydrastat technology. So I want to tell you what's happening on the market, because 90% of the glutathione companies, the companies that are making glutathione, actually use nanotechnology, which means they make the glutathione into teeny tiny, really small particles. But 90% of these companies use a liposomal delivery, which means they make it into tiny particles and then they surround the particles with fat. So fat increases the molecular mass, the weight, the particle size of the glutathione. So to be a nano-sized particle, it has to be under 50 nanometers. As soon as you wrap the glutathione in fat, in a liposome, it's above 50 nanometers, which means that it doesn't matter how much you hold it under the tongue, you're never going to absorb it. So this liposomal technology has become really a fad where everybody's doing liposomal, thinking that we're absorbing it in through the oral mucosa, through the salivary glands. It's not true, because when they wrap it in the liposome, it's too big to be absorbed. So it has to be swallowed, and in the process of glutathione, your stomach acid is going to basically kill it. There's going to be very little glutathione that bypasses the stomach acid. And then it has to go to the liver. The liver has to be, able to metabolize it and then push it out to the cells. So using a liposomal delivery method, you get about 28% absorption. This is why most people, when they've tried glutathione in the past, don't really feel anything. They don't really feel like their lives got better. And it's why most medical professionals, either conventional or natural, don't recommend glutathione, because they know it's only 28% absorption. And so it's not the best bang for your buck. But let's talk about what Neumi is doing, because this is where the exciting stuff happens. The Hydrastat technology means that rather than wrapping those particles in fat, Neumi wraps it in water. When we wrap glutathione in water, it does not increase the molecular mass. And Neumi, their nanotechnology is so brilliant that the size of the glutathione particles is less than 10 nanometers. The reason that this is really important is because the pores on your cells themselves are 10 nanometers. So Neumi, in their wisdom, in the scientists that are so amazing, now have a nano-sized technology, a nano-sized particle that is less than 10 nanometers and wrapped in water. And your cells love water. Every cell in your body is hydrophilic. I love it. I love water. They see the water molecule and they allow it to come right in through the pores. So what's really fascinating is because it's under 10 nanometers and you hold it or squish it in your mouth, within 30 seconds, that glutathione has now been absorbed right into your jugular, and within 70 seconds, it's in every cell of your body. We don't need to worry about whether your stomach acid is going to kill the glutathione, whether your liver is working, whether your liver is metabolizing. You just get 100% absorption. And we know this is true because we have molecular biologists that have studied this, saying, what? This is crazy. This is impossible. It's so amazing. Now, the other thing that's really cool is we talked a little bit about heavy metals. Now, in order to cross the blood-brain barrier, to detoxify those metals from the brain and from the lymphatic system, which is a lymphatic system of the brain, the particles have to be less than 20 nanometers. There's very few particles in the world that are less than 20 nanometers. Your brain is very well protected, right? So frankincense is one of those molecules, for example, that can enter into the brain. But with Neumi, we're less than 10. So the glutathione can go right into the brain and detoxify all of the garbage and the crud from the brain so that you have that increased focus and memory and attention span, that you feel good every single day, and that you can get rid of those heavy metals that are fogging up your central nervous system. So it's so really good, okay? And so we've got two products with Neumi. We've got the Swish, which is an oral supplement that is going to be absorbed right through the salivary glands. And then we have the glutathione as a skin spray that is also nanoparticleized. It's going to go 23 layers deep into all of the layers of the skin. The skin renews itself from the inside out. So we can't just, sandpaper off our face to give us a nice, beautiful skin. We've got to heal it from the inside out. So Neumi truly heals, repairs, regenerates, restores cells from the inside out. So let's take a look at the Swish product, because we have a couple of other ingredients in our Swish. They're all nanoparticleized, which means they're all absorbed right through the salivary glands to give us optimum uptake and usage. So we've got curcumin, which is an anti-inflammatory, it's an antioxidant, it helps decrease pain. It also enhances your mood. So one of the things with curcumin, if you're on a blood thinner, just check in with your pharmacist or healthcare provider. Curcumin, which is it was from turmeric, in high doses is also a blood thinner. So if you're already on your blood thinner, you might want to talk to your healthcare provider about it. I wouldn't say this is in high dose, but you want to check with your healthcare provider. We also have alpha lipoic acid, which is a very strong antioxidant. It decreases inflammation. It's an anti-ager. And it helps with nerve function, which is why many people are reporting that the weird nerve sensations and the buzzing and tingling and numbness and all of the crazy that's going on in their body starts to normalize after they're using the Swish and or the spray. Then we have the cysteine. So we talked about the cysteine. We talked about the NAC. So this is an NAC. This is actually cysteine proper. And remember that you can't make the glutathione yourself without it. So Neumi's going to give you the glutathione straight up 100% absorption, but we're also going to make your body or help your body make its own as well by giving it the cysteine. There's also vitamin C in here. And the reason that vitamin C is in here is because it actually helps increase glutathione levels by attacking free radicals, those oxidative stressors, first. So it preserves glutathione in the body. It's known as a glutathione sparer, protects glutathione in your tissues. It increases glutathione in your white blood cells. Remember, that's so important for stabilizing your immune system, and also increases glutathione in your red blood cells so that your hemoglobin is good and that your B12 is stabilized. Now, what's cool about glutathione is it takes tired, worn out vitamin C and it refreshes it back into the active form, so we get a second use of our vitamin C. So this is a really fantastic product. Now, I just wanted to show you a couple of pictures about where you're absorbing the glutathione. It's under your tongue. So when you take it, you're going to swish it in your mouth for 90 seconds. And you can give a swish in the front part because we're absorbing under the tongue where we've got those big blood vessels, right? And so you swish for 90 seconds. And then you just go ahead and swallow it. What's really fascinating about glutathione is it doesn't matter whether your digestion is working, whether your liver is working with the Swish product, because we're getting the absorption in the salivary glands. We don't need to worry about that. So even if somebody is vomiting, they can still use the product. They can swish and then spit it out if they want to, so that their body can heal and recover faster. It has a very nice flavor. If any of you have taken glutathione supplements before, you know how absolutely nasty they can be. But with the glutathione that Neumi has, it's very pleasant in its flavor. It's also shelf stable. So if you are a glutathione fiend or you've used it a lot, you know that glutathione needs to be generally kept in the fridge. It needs to be kept dark. And after 30 days, you have to throw it out because it expires, it oxidizes. So with Neumi, it's stabilized, right? So one bottle is a 1 month serving size. Now, the other thing that's really fascinating is that we've got this superior absorption. So clinically, because the old liposomal glutathiones didn't work so well and my patients didn't improve, I used to send people for IV glutathione. IV glutathione is very expensive, $150 to $300 per dose. You have to have it about 3 times a week for many, many weeks to feel anything. It only lasts for about 4 hours and then you just kind of feel drained again. It's very expensive, but also you're getting a needle. You have to go somewhere. You've got an 1.5 hour long procedure, so it's very time consuming. Swish is totally convenient. Right in your house, right in your office, right in your gym bag. It's always ready to go to give you the little boost that you need. So you can use it multiple times a day. On the dosage on the bottle is 2 capfuls, which is 2 teaspoons once per day. That's a maintenance dose. That's if you know, like you're totally healthy, you're less than 30 years old, you've got no underlying health issues at all. 2 capfuls per day is a great maintenance dose. Remember about our deficiency. If you have any of those risk factors, if you're over the age of 30, you might consider doing an increased dose to help facilitate the detoxification and to get your body going, right? To increase the energy, get rid of the brain fog, and just feel better as a whole. So if you've got any type of acute or chronic disease, you might want to just increase your serving size. The person that invited you to this call will be really pleased or happy to help you walk that out. And what would the good dosage for that be? And so the next product is our Neumi Skin. So the Neumi Skin product is a spray product, and it is nanoparticleized. So ladies, even if you're wearing makeup or foundation, I don't wear foundation, but if you were, you can have a bottle at your office or your work, and you can just give yourself a good spray, your face, but also your neck and your chest. It dries very quickly, like 1 to 2 minutes, depending on how much you actually sprayed on there. But the more you spray, the faster your results are going to be. Right? Because this is a spray product. So you want your hair to grow back faster, then spray more on the top of your head, right? So we have the nano-sized glutathione, but we also have hyaluronic acid. So any high quality skincare always utilizes hyaluronic acid because it increases moisture in your skin. It decreases fine lines and wrinkles. It decreases swelling. Basically, it just makes you have healthier, more subtle skin. But it's also a natural lubricant for the joints and the tissues. So we have a lot of people that are using the Neumi Skin Spray on areas of their body that hurt. Maybe their knees, maybe their hip, maybe they pulled their shoulder. And so they're using this to detox, but also to provide some cushioning and some relief. Then we also have collagen. Collagen helps puff up the skin, give it some elasticity, some beautiful glow to it. We have NAD+, which is nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, which is why we call it NAD+. And it's really cool because it is a natural anti-ager. It decreases inflammation. It helps your cells to regenerate. It really gives you more energy, but it's really good for the brain. It's really good for brain cells. It slows cognitive decline. So when you're spraying, if you're having some brain challenges, make sure you're spraying your temples or the back of your base of your brain where it's all spongy there, so that you're getting some of the NAD and the glutathione close up to the brain to support cognitive function. And then we've got amino acids, which restore skin damage, but they also soothe and protect our skin. So the Neumi Skin product is really fantastic. Like, we have so many testimonies. Look at our beautiful friend. She lives in Nigeria, and look at the sun damage on the forehead, right? The eyes, underneath the eyes, there's a lot of toxicity, right? So we've got the liver toxicity going on there. We've got the swollen face. We've got the hanging double chin. And then after using the skin product, Man, she doesn't even look like the same woman. Like, look at how dark her eyes were before. So a lot of the sun damage has been resolved. The liver has been detoxing like crazy town, right? The inflammation is lowered on her skin, and it looks like she's had a chin lift. She looks again like she's dropped like 20 years off of her life. So the products are really just so fantastic. Here's some stretch marks. So I like to call these my little war wounds, right, from having babies. But when we look at the stretch marks, we can tell she's not lost any weight from her hip bone structure. Red, inflamed stretch marks using the skin spray on her belly, and voila, what an incredible, amazing improvement. The other thing that you can use the skin spray on is if you've got any cottage cheese areas. Remember, it's a detoxifier. So it's going to help detoxify the cellulite and deflate the cellulite and pull the garbage out of them to give you a nicer shape, but also to get rid of some of that junk that you're storing up in your fat cells. And so I just want to look at just unmuting Jeannie and bringing you to the forefront here, Jeannie. So if you can talk for me, please.
Yes.
Then I can find you. Keep talking, keep talking.
Hello, hello, hello.
Why are you not highlighting?
I went through the app instead. So
okay, I got you. I got you.
Okay, perfect. Awesome.
Okay, so Jeannie, I don't know if you can show us your lovely face, but talk to me a little bit, because I mentioned a couple of times about how glutathione, can increase your energy and make you like feel awesome. So what was your experience with that?
My experience, I feel like a teenager now again, and it's so amazing. I started off, I did the reset where every hour, for the first 2 days, I would take 1 capsule full and I would swish. The first day at night, I just took a nice little nap, like I felt like I was on vacation. Then all of a sudden my nose cleared up, the sluggish brain fog, just like a slug, disappeared. And then all of a sudden I was like jumping around like a cheerleader again. I felt so stinking excited and revitalized and just alive again. It just clarity and just hopeful that we get to go help heal the world. Like, it was amazing.
Yeah, and that's really cool. And thanks for that, because we hear that a lot. People just feel like, oh my gosh, this is totally like fantastic, right? But now I want to find Andrea. So Andrea, can you just unmute yourself, and then we'll be able to see you as well. If you, I don't know if you have your camera on.
Okay, my camera's on.
Okay, so why can I not see you? Just there you are. Sorry.
Hello, do you see me?
We do. Okay, so Andrea, in about 2 minutes, you had a very different experience using the product than Jeannie. So we want to help people out with this, because not everybody all of a sudden feels full of energy and alive and amazing, but you've had some health challenges. So tell us what you felt when you used the product.
Exactly. So I'm someone who, had been in disability for 20 years, Lyme disease, very sick. And then I got into health. So I was on my journey and working in health now myself. But I was still always fighting like the fatigue, and I'd have like chronic allergy hives that would flare up, and, just stuff that I couldn't get to the root of, the foundation of. So when I started Neumi, I'm sure, Roxanne, you remember the calls. I started taking higher doses, but I started to react quite quickly. I had a headache, and I started with a rash under both my armpits, and my stool got really dark, and my urine got really dark. But I was really excited because I'm like, oh my gosh, I thought I had detoxed my body, but I also knew I hadn't, right? Because you just know. But I was really excited because I knew something was shifting. So to sum it up quickly, basically, I had to pull back, the worst thing you can do. And I'm glad I learned from myself to help my own people on my team, is to stop midway in a detox. Yeah. So I just slowed back, got through the symptoms to a comfort that I was good with. And it took me a couple of weeks, but I'm 5.5 months in starting this product, and I'm still seeing differences. I pushed myself really hard in the last month or so, things I couldn't have done before. But yeah, I've been a little tired this week, but before I couldn't have even functioned, right? So I find when I have a lot of pressing things going on, I just take an extra couple of doses
Yeah.
And I like to spread, I still take 3, but usually 4 capfuls a day. And I spread mine out like morning, late morning, mid-afternoon, late afternoon, or maybe even
Perfect.
before bed. I can
Awesome.
sleep well. So I figure I'm feeling a deficiency and I just keep going until I level off. But on a quick note, I've cut back some of the supplements I was using to support my adrenals and my thyroid. So that's huge because I've been on them for 10 years.
Yeah, so wonderful. So thank you for sharing. Because, Andrea mentioned that, she said that she felt like she was reacting. Well, it's not really reacting. Her body couldn't keep up with the detoxification, right? So she started to feel unwell because she mentioned that she was so unwell for so long, right? And she hadn't fully detoxified. So her body in that detoxification process needed to keep up with that, make sure that the bowels were moving so that she could optimize. So some people feel really great. Some people, maybe they feel great over a long period of time or more slowly. And some people don't really notice because maybe they felt great already, or that the changes were so small over time that really they don't notice until like months later, where they're like, hey, I could have never done this before. This is so crazy that I'm doing all of this cool stuff. So thanks for sharing that, Andrea, because it's really important. So,
Roxanne, can I interrupt? Because I did not say the things that I'm feeling beneficial now. I think it's important for someone who's just learning. So once I got through that, I've got amazing focus, energy. I don't use the word I'm overwhelmed anymore because I can just deal with stuff. I don't have more on my plate than I could handle. All of those things, the energy, happiness, the joy, the more muscle development. I'm like, I can do a plank without even working up to it now. I haven't even been doing push-ups before that for a while. So no, it's all good. So it's very exciting.
Awesome. Thank you. Wonderful. So here's a little picture of a young man, right? Again, cystic acne, pustules, using the skin spray. What an amazing difference. So Anne has a question. It'd be nice to see what these skin conditions look like after a few months. Yeah, it does heal the pitting skins. But here's the interesting fact, Anne. Numi is fresh on the market as of July last year. So a lot of these people have literally just started using the product. So initially, people that were using the product didn't really have, they weren't maybe skin issue people. They were more athletes or, other types of people. So we definitely have some photos that are from longer standing. So we did see that one, after 7 weeks. But for a lot of these people, because the company, the technology is brand new, right? It's hard to, get months worth of footage because they just simply haven't been really around that long. So yes, we see the healing in the pitting of the skin because you're correcting the damage from the inside out. You're correcting the damage to the cells so that they're not replicating erroneously anymore. And you're getting those beautiful cells right from the inside out. So I want to shift gears just very briefly. We're kind of at the end of our time, but I really invite you to live better, feel better, and perform better, all at the speed of Swish. And here's how you can get this amazing product. So there's 3 different ways to purchase. Number 1 is retail. It is the most expensive. Please do not buy retail. Even if you're thinking, I just want to try it, so I want to pay extra money to try it, please don't. It doesn't cost you anything to set up a preferred customer account. You're going to get the best price, which is wholesale pricing, and you can give it a go. All right. So preferred customer is someone who knows they've got some issues, right? Maybe they're older, they've got longstanding health issues or skin issues or brain fog issues or hair issues. And preferred customers go on a monthly shipment where they're just going to get what they need every single month. They're going to set it, they're going to forget it. It's going to come automatically and they don't have to remind themselves to go and buy it somewhere. Alternately, you can become a brand ambassador. And being a brand ambassador is really cool because you get a little link to share with your friends so that when they see, right, what are you doing? Why is your skin so good? Why do you have so much energy? Why do you not have any pain anymore? Right? Why can you feel your toes all of a sudden? Right? We get to share that with them and we get to experience their testimonies and their healing. And it's really such a blessing to be on the end of hearing about how well people are doing. So you can actually get welcome packs with Neumi. Maybe you have a larger family or multiple people that need to use the product, but the basic welcome pack is one of each product. And that's a really good way to get started if you're maybe a little bit unsure. I like people generally to get, at least pack 2, because if you've got longstanding issues, you're going to need more than 1 bottle in your first month, right? So you have 4 of the Swish and 2 of the Skin. And then as we get into welcome packs 3 or 4, we get more product, but we also get a VIP membership, which is really cool. We get mentoring as part of the VIP membership, mentoring with Stephen K. Scott, who is a best-selling author, has written tons of books. He's actually written a book called Millionaire Mindset, or Mentored by a Millionaire, which is phenomenal. He speaks in large companies and corporations around the world. He's paid big money for his wisdom. You get that for free. You also get for free a personal exercise app to help you with your new wellness lifestyle, and a Voyager subscription, which is for you anything travel related, hotels, cars, airplanes, whatever, to get really fantastic discounts. Also free product with these kits as well. So wonderful welcome packs. And we also have these beautiful quarterly packs. So the quarterly packs are really fun because they come every 3 months. So you just order every 3 months, you set your auto ship for every 3 months, you get 3 months worth of product with only 1 shipping fee and an extra free bottle of Swish that you can share with others or pass around. It's $300 US, really fantastic buy. So in comparison, because I talked about that, the IVs in Canada here are $150 to $300 per dose. Our products are $1.67 US per dose. It's less than a cup of coffee, and you can really optimize your health and wellness. Now, in the US and soon coming to the rest of the world, we have a professional resellers program for professionals, clinics, spas, etc. So it's a little bit different packaging to show that it is a professional resellers program. So these are people that want to buy the product by the case because they're reselling it on the shelves in their clinic or in their spa. So if that's something of interest to you, please speak with the person that brought you, and they can get you all of the information there. And I just generally invite you, please speak with the person that invited you to this webinar, because they've got a referral link for you. They want to walk with you on this healing journey and be there to answer any of your questions or concerns. My link there is on the bottom. If I invited you to this call, that's the link that you'll be using. For those of you that are interested and want to stick around, I'm going to give you a 3-minute flash by of something of blood microscopy where we can see the toxicity in the blood itself. Again, these statements have not been approved by the FDA or Health Canada. They're not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, prevent disease. And so the pictures that I'm going to be showing you of the toxic blood just happen to be after people have been jabbed with the current inoculation. And what we see is extreme toxicity in them. The first thing that we see is in the background, these little yellow kind of spheres. These are the red blood cells, and all of the shining objects are white blood cells. So normally we see 1 white for every 700 red. When we see this level of white blood cells that are round and not moving and grouped together, it is a sign of toxicity, and it's also a sign that your immune system is not functioning. It's like it's on shock mode. So again, the glutathione helps to come in and heal the toxicity and help stabilize the immune system so it functions properly, so that it can respond, for example, to the inoculation. We have the red blood cells that should be by themselves, like here we have at 10 o'clock, but most of these cells are joined together in a state called rouleau. So rouleau is a sign of extreme toxicity and acidosis. We can see that for dehydration and other issues as well, but basically the body is not flushing itself out from the toxins. And then here, kind of at the bottom of the screen, this is red blood cell aggregation. This is a sign of extreme toxicity where the liver is not able to flush the toxins out of the body. It creates blood sludge. It makes your blood really, really thick. So we talked about the car and the oil, right? And so the blood is very thick and it's not moving through the oil filter, your liver, very well, and it's not being cleaned out. So it puts more pressure on the cardiovascular system. Some of the cells start to look like this. Now, this type of cell we generally only see where there's a massive radiation exposure, right? Like multiple x-rays or just extreme toxicity, maybe some really, really nasty medication. That's how we would normally see these types of cells. They're very pointed cells. They're crinkled. We've got issues with the fat digestion. So we can see the cells got all these little lumpy bumpies inside them. And again, we don't have the glutathione to stabilize from the toxicity, but also we don't have the glutathione for the liver to make the bile. So you're not digesting, absorbing the fats. So we start to have dysfunctional red blood cells that cannot oxygenate the body or do the detoxification that they are supposed to. This is the red blood cell aggregation up close and personal, what it kind of looks like. And then we've got all kinds of fluorescent, very colorful artifacts and crystals and chemicals from the injection, from the jabba. And we need the glutathione to come in and remove this toxic debris. We can also see in people post-injection, their body actually goes very, very acidic. It's highly toxic. So we start to see a lot of parasitic and fungal forms or organisms in the sample. A lot of just crinkled cells as well. Kinocytes, they're dying. We get higher levels of dying cells. Here is what the nanoliposome from the actual injection particles, this is what they look like in the sample. So they're very, very colorful and interesting. And then we also have these groups of protoplasts or symplasms. It's toxic debris. It's a whole bunch of chemicals and toxins that the body starts putting together in these little garbage cans because the white blood cells cannot keep up, because the liver cannot keep up. So it tries to contain them in these little garbage cans. And then around the outside, again, we've got some other little nanoparticles. This was actually a vaccine particle, a nanoliposome that, as I was with my client, it started replicating and it was actually spitting out smaller particles. So this was actually a video. I just took a still photo of it. It's pretty cool. And then 1 month after the treatment, so the protocol would be 1 capsule every hour that you're awake for the first 48 hours, and then 2 capsules 3 times a day for 3 to 5 days, and then to the maintenance dose. And this is what we see 4 weeks after using the treatment, where we have red blood cells basically properly sized, shaped, and a clear plasma. So that's a short and the gist of it, a blood microscopy and what we can see from a toxicity challenge. And I love Tracy sharing she feels happier and she's also sleeping better. So thank you so much for joining in our call. I'm going to stop the recording. So if you do have any questions, you'll be able to answer them. But again, remember to just touch base with the person that invited you to get started today. We're so excited and can't wait to hear your testimony. And if you are on the call and have a testimony, we want to hear it. So reach out to the person that got you started with Neumi because we want to know, what's your testimony? Let us know.